Okay, we're live. All access pass one-on-one sessions. My name is Diane Hockman. Today I'm here with Jane Campbell, and I'm trying to find a spot where the sun is not brutal on me. There, it's a little better.
There you go.
Good morning, Jane, or good afternoon. It's noon.
Good afternoon.
How the heck are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am swell. Why don't you start us down the road of what you want to discuss today?
Okay, I wrote down several things. So first is, what are like 3 things that you do every single day that is like non-negotiable? Like 2, 3, 4 things.
Well, I'll tell you the 3 things that I like to do every single day, and then one of them I've been a little delinquent lately, but that's okay because I've been doing other projects. But I post on social on all my platforms every day, multiple times a day.
Okay.
In fact, I do it so naturally now that I don't even think about doing it. I do it first thing in the morning, not first thing like first thing in my work morning, right? You don't do it at 6 a.m. It's not good.
Right.
But like 9 o'clock, my noon time, and again in the late afternoon or early evening on all my platforms. So if you have 2 platforms, you're going to do it on 2 platforms. If you have 4, you're going to do it on 4. But I am, and the reason why is because my audience is out there. And if I'm not ever present for them, they don't see me as their answer or the person that has their answer. So that's why it's critical that we are visible in front of it. Would be like if I was a Broadway star and I didn't come out on stage.
Yeah.
The audience is sitting there waiting for you, right? And you're like, right. Yeah, I don't feel like it. I have nothing to say today, So it's clockwork. I was literally in the ICU posting. Okay, not because I was like trying so hard to work, as much as it's just what I do. I like brushing your teeth. The next thing is create a piece of content. I'm always creating something like these sessions or content. I'm always creating something. I'm always writing something, something of value. And if I can do that every day, then here's what's really cool. Over time, you create a library of content. And then when you can't, then when you're traveling, then when life gets in the way, you always have something to go pull from that you can either reuse or you can recreate in a minute. Because if I watch my own video with my own idea from 2 years ago, I can go make a new video in a second.
True.
Because the idea is already there. I don't have to think of something to say. So especially for 90 days when, you're in the earlier stages of your career, like if you go back and look at my old YouTube and stuff, clockwork. Right? And then the last thing that I really should be doing, and the one that I've been a little bit delinquent on lately while I was traveling, is write my list. Because again, that's my audience, people that have literally not just said, I like to watch you on social, but I really want to hear from you. And it's very important that I stay top of mind for those people.
Okay.
And inside the list, I'm making offers, so that's where my revenue is coming from.
Right.
So those are the non-negotiables for me. Building funnels, great. You should do it once in a while. I'm thinking about what else people even do otherwise, because creating a piece of content could be going live. Creating a piece of content could be creating a video. Creating a piece of content could be writing a post. So, those all fit into
that. All right.
You're going to hear me over and over and over. Whenever I'm working with someone and they're saying, I'm getting no leads and I have no interaction. I'm like, great, let's look at your wall. And they posted once or twice last week and it was about their dog or something. They haven't posted anything that is of value to the prospect. And by the way, all the stuff that you learned in the email workshop that we did is terribly relevant to creating content and posting. Because can you curate when you have not, you're busy? Can you curate something?
Yeah.
You can grab something and post it to share because you're saying, hey, this might be valuable to you. Can you write a love letter? Can you share a story? So it's all the same stuff.
So going back to that, what we talked about the different emails. So you can basically take the information from there and then pull out bits and pieces of it and post about it, is what you're saying.
Last night, I was watching a really cool interview with a doctor about ADHD. A lot of entrepreneurs have ADHD. It's really common. I mean, it's our superpower and it's our weakness, right? Our kryptonite. And I put up a quote from a doctor about ADHD. I don't know. There was so much engagement on it. It was like going on and on and on. People were still engaging this morning. I don't remember how many people, but that was just, I could curate it now. I could turn around today and, but it wasn't even my words. It was just something that I saw that I thought would be helpful to my colleagues. Here it is. There's 71 reactions and 41 comments. It was the comments in the conversation, and then people were messaging me. And I'm getting into these conversations with people about ADHD, and a lot of opinions about it, a lot of controversy about it. And the quote was, I mean, when I heard the quote, I was like, whoa, it compelled me to share it because I care about my audience.
And that's the key right there. Boom.
That is the key, because if you care about your kids, you bring them home things they like, right? You go shopping and you bring one home peanut M&Ms
all the time.
Right? And you're always thinking, oh, so-and-so would like that, right? Because we care about our kids, so we go locate things that they would love. And it's the same, my kids are adult, but I see things like that would be great for their house, or I see something that I think they both have pets now. So one has a dog. I'm always buying stuff for their dogs or my grandbabies, right? So I'm thinking about them. If we want to build a real business, we have an audience of people, we have to think about them. And most people cannot seem to make that shift from thinking about wanting to make a sale to thinking about helping those people. When you help those people naturally come to you. That's why so many like real estate agents, insurance agents, they get really involved in the community, because they know if they help out at the fair and they do this, or they, sponsor something, their name and their image is all over. And over time, everybody sees them as the person you go to when you want to buy or sell.
Makes
because
sense.
they care about their community, and that is their audience of potential customers, clients, etc.
That makes total sense. Okay.
And by the way, the next time you hesitate to go, what do I share? What do I do? Think about what would help someone. It makes it, because you're a good person. Of course, you want to help people.
But so that leads me to another thing. So much, we have so much information out there that is available to us with the platform, that it's, what do I lean towards that? Sometimes I just find myself paralyzed because there's so much, and it's like, where do you go? What do you do? This would be really helpful, but this would be helpful. So it's like ping pong balls.
Make sure you catch today's wake up call that I did on the podcast afterwards.
Okay.
I didn't broadcast it because it was for this. Okay.
Okay.
You think about your audience, and you think, like, when I go to the supermarket and I want to pick up something for my family, I'm not overwhelmed by all the things in the supermarket. I'm thinking about my daughter and what she would like. I'm not thinking about, there's so many things, right? Let's say I went to Target.
Right.
I want to get my daughter a little something to congratulate her if she got a promotion. I'm in Target. I am not overwhelmed by the sheer number of things in Target. My focus is, what are the things that she likes? And then I look in Target for those things. So if I have an audience that's trying to build a home business, instead of being overwhelmed by all the stuff, I go into that back office looking for something that specifically answers one of their questions. Because again, it comes down to, people go, they pick a campaign and they try to push the campaign on the people. I get to know the people, and then I find the campaign that they would want. So one of my daughters does not, well, one is vegan, doesn't eat any meat, and the other one doesn't eat beef. So if I went to the store and went, I know, I'm going to make a barbecue and I'm going to get hamburgers.
Yeah,
Because they're
bomb.
on special and the store is pushing them on me because it's on the flyer and it's a special. And I go, that's right. That's right. I'm going to make hamburgers. What kind of a hit am I going to have?
Yeah, they will not be very happy.
Right? Even though it's popular in the store, even though they're prominently displayed, even though they're on sale, my children, neither one of them is going to eat that.
Right.
Okay. So maybe I just said something kind of cool. What is my audience going to eat? In their mind.
Mm-hmm.
What do they want? Here's the 3 steps to this. Here's a 5-day challenge. And you say it's a 5-day challenge, but you could do it in 5 hours this Saturday.
Right.
You do a 5-day challenge to this. What do they want? And so the questions that you're having are always based on, I don't know who I want to serve. That's why you're overwhelmed. If I don't know who I want to serve, I go into the supermarket and I go, or Target or Walmart or Costco. There's so much stuff. But if I know I'm buying something for my mom, I kind of have an idea of where to go. Like my audience, there's information about how to run ads and stuff. My audience, it's not my thing. I don't even talk about ads. Putting posts up about running ads probably isn't going to hit for my audience. For somebody else's audience, that will hit right away. By the way, how do you get to know? You start sharing different things. Like if I put out hamburgers and my kids don't eat them, how did I find out that my daughter won't eat beef? Because I just thought it was a little kid thing. To this day, she's 29. She doesn't eat beef. I laid it out enough times. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like it. She eats chicken. She eats pork. She's a good eater. She doesn't eat beef. Not because she's saving cows. She doesn't like it. So I laid out beef enough times and she rejected it enough times that I figured out she doesn't like it.
Right.
So if I go lay out how to run Facebook ads and my audience doesn't bite on it and a couple times, I know that they don't like it. But if I sit and go, I'm overwhelmed and I don't pick something to lay out, everybody starves. And if somebody's starving and you don't feed them, what are they going to do?
Walk away, go find food elsewhere.
They're going to go somewhere else and find food elsewhere.
Yep.
So you got to feed them. And the worst thing that happens is you find out they don't like this food. But it still comes down to knowing what they want. So if you go into the back office, look around and see what campaigns there are, or perhaps learn. And that's what I talked about on the after call today on the Facebook page. I talked about now that we have the tools that you can whip up a page real quick, you can create a page for anything for them. Mm-hmm. So if you find out that they don't like it in a certain format, create something for them. Johnny doesn't like hamburger, but he likes meatloaf. It's a different format, same food, right? So I just make it in a different format. So my guys aren't responsive to these campaigns, but I remake the campaign with me on it because they like me. They're more likely to consume it.
All right, that makes sense.
I'm watching your face because you're cute, because you're analyzing.
Yeah, I do that.
But think about it. You don't analyze when you're shopping for your kids. Maybe for Christmas.
No, I don't. No, I don't. It's like, oh, that would be really neat. So
yeah. And sometimes you fail. Like every mom gets to the stage where their kids are older and you think they'd really love something. And they're like, oh, thanks. Like, ew, this sweater's ugly. That stage. I remember my mother, you didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it was like, could you have picked any uglier clothes than the things you bought? It's like, brown and orange plaid, something. It's like,
oh no,
it's really nice with paisley on top of it.
Oh my word. Yeah, that's really bad. I haven't been that bad yet.
Because that was popular when, she'll pick something that was popular when she was young and go, oh, they'll like it. And that same thing happens, by the way, with your audience. You think like there's all this new stuff. I resisted doing training on short form video and different things for a while. That's what they want. So I'm doing it. But the less analyzing, more posting. Because if you're posting 3 times a day and you share something 3 times a day, they're not all going to go over. And that's how you find out what they like to eat.
Okay, that makes sense. And so, it doesn't all have to be business stuff. It can be business, it can be personal, it can be just a combination of a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, with business in mind.
Right.
You know,
Twisting
I'm
things.
saying, so I always have business in mind, but I'm not always pushing the business, but I'm keeping it there. Like, so if we go back to insurance, I'm not going to go, do you need insurance policy? Do you need insurance policy? Do you need insurance policy? Do you need an
Right.
insurance policy? Because that would be weird, right? But if I took pictures of the car accident that I passed today and went, holy cow, there but for the grace of God, there go I. We never know what's going to happen tomorrow. That still has everything to do with an insurance policy, doesn't it?
Right.
I'm just pushing an insurance policy. So there's ways, and this you learn from practice, to keep something in that. Like I just made, I've made a couple of silly videos, but then I put a business spin on them. But they're silly videos. They're not like one of them was me giggling. It was like me going, "I'm sad." I'm sad, and then when there's another person talking to me, and they go, "Why?" I don't know. I'm not really sure. Well, let's laugh. Let's practice laughing until we really laugh, and then I'm like giggling, right? So it's a video, and it's like a little kid's voice, and I'm lip syncing, and it's has nothing to do with business. But then when I put on some type of words about when your client is, absolutely frustrated,
Okay.
and you have to make yourself laugh, now it becomes relevant to business. So there's
How did
lots
you
of
come
ways.
up with these things?
I don't. I mimic other people. Nobody comes up with anything. Let me ask you a question. Romeo and Juliet. When was that written? Long time ago, right?
Way long time ago. And it's just
Right?
continued throughout the years.
How many movies and TV shows are the story of Romeo and Juliet set somewhere else?
Oh well, Hallmark does it every day.
Like Hallmark
Yeah,
does it
they're
every day in a movie, right? And sometimes it's whatever. Point is, did they make it up? No,
no, they
they for the audience. But the Romeo and Juliet, so there's so many stories. They've been around for centuries and centuries and centuries. So the idea of laughing when things are smile, though your heart is aching, smile. Is that video concept new? No,
no.
it's one that she's saying that came from something else. That came from something else. So the question is, can you open up your eyes and look around? I just always look at something and go, how can I rephrase it? How can I mean, I could take any book and make tons of content out of it without sounding like I'm stealing from the book because nothing's new. Nothing's, nothing.
That's a neat way of looking at it. Yeah. That it's like you're just taking it and putting your own spin on it and having fun with it.
And that's what we do in life, right? Right? Somebody made a rainbow cake and they made it red, green, yellow, Roy G. Biv, red, green, yellow, blue, but your kids like pastel, so you made it pink, purple, light blue.
Right.
It's a rainbow cake. You just made it your way. You made the frosting purple instead of white. Whatever. We do this all the time. We change our recipes. We change the way we clothing fashion repeats itself over and over and over. A sweater set, but this year it's hot. Remember in the 80s when everything was neon? Or George, neon, everything,
Yep.
right? It was the same clothes from before, but they changed the color. Or it might be the same clothes from before, but they changed the buttons. Or it might be the same. I mean, if I say to you pumps, you know what pumps are, but there's
Right.
4 million versions of pumps. So same thing here. If you read something or go look at a funnel or go look at a video or something, there's no reason why you can't take that and make it your own. Okay, you don't plagiarize. Let's be clear. I don't take whole things, except on TikTok. They want you to. It's weird, but I do trainings all the time that Jim Rohn did. And if I do it like Jim Rohn, I quote him. Right? I say this is a classic that I was taught by one of my mentors, Jim Rohn. Or I just completely, like he talks about your value in the marketplace and How do you go from making 335 to making 5 million? You know, he draws a stair step about how we become more valuable and we're able to offer more value. I could say that in 17 different ways. I'm not going to use his exact words, but the concept of becoming more valuable, it's not patented. Jane, your biggest problem is simple. You just have to do something. Once you do it, you're going to see it. You can't see the patterns that I'm describing to you. You can't see the order that I'm describing to you because you haven't taken the step. I can't teach you to swim from the side of the pool. You got to get in. And then I go, okay, now that you can doggy paddle, we're going to do this. Now that you can do that, we're going to do this. Can't learn it any other way.
Yeah, I feel like I was doing well, and then there was a call that came in, the one of the Wednesday night calls, and which talked about creating the one piece of content and then going creating the one pillar and then doing, and something happened. I don't know what it was, but it was like, boom, and the lights went out. And they went out. It was like I froze. I'm like, before then I had like created all this content. I did all this stuff. I was like, this is great. I don't know what happened, but I was in a groove and I was jabbing. And then that happened. And then something just like a wall went up where I'm like, I got stupid again.
First of all, you're not heavily using video. So that training was about taking a big piece of video and turning it into all this other stuff. You're not really using video. So that training was kind of irrelevant to what you're doing right now. Very relevant training, but it's kind of irrelevant to what you're doing.
But I need to be doing video.
You need to be doing a lot of things. Let's start with what's good for you to start with. Here's what my phrase is always this. In the military, they send you somewhere, and a lot of times the kid will call his mom or write his mom and say, I don't know where we're going next. I just know we're waiting for orders. They're on a need-to-know basis. They don't tell them anything because they're going to talk, right? They don't tell them anything. In the military, my sister's a military person. So
thank her for her service.
I'm sorry?
Thank her for her service and all of you for your sacrifice.
Well, I will, because her whole family, it's her and her husband, Annapolis grads, both kids, one Annapolis grad and one senior this year. So they're the whole four of them, Annapolis, like Navy, officers. Crazy. So you're on a need to know basis. And what I mean by that is you went to a training that you didn't need to know. And then when it was a lot, you didn't need to know that yet. Okay. And that's part of our responsibility when we look at training and we look at different things. It's very easy to continually go to learn the next thing, but we have to become disciplined enough to realize I haven't executed this. I'm not going to go try to get that. And by the way, I'm still guilty of this all the time. I say it to myself constantly. I did it yesterday. I saw something. I was like, well, I'm going to buy that. And I'm like, and I still have all this stuff I have not completed. Why would I buy that? So we have to really look at that and pick, like, do you want to master posting 3 times a day?
Yes.
Master that. Okay. Now, later on, if you use video, you can pull all the posts from the video. Like what Mark described is a really cool technique. I've described it. I did a whole training. One of the trainings that we had a while ago, I did something very similar. It's a very cool idea of creating one longer thing and then excerpting from it. But if you haven't mastered just writing something 3 times a day, that's on the deep end of the pool. Okay. It's relevant to you because, like I said later on, like any one of these one-on-ones that we're doing, I can crop a piece of video of me talking and I can turn that into a small piece of content. I could crop me out, it could be us, but a lot of times it'll be just the part where I'm talking. I could cut out a 1-minute clip of me teaching about something. And now I did a class with you. There's pieces in it that I can use. I can create a transcript where I can pull out quotes from it. So there's lots of uses for it But again, we have to master something simple before we go to that. I could do one big training every Monday and create all my content for the week out of it. But again, let's go back to this simple concept, because it's like content. It sounds so fancy and this and that. All it is you caring enough for the people that are around you to share with them things that will help them. That's all it is. That's what content is. And then you can make it fancier or longer or prettier. I'm usually too ADHD to sit and do all the editing. I'm just like, here I am.
Right.
You know, like me, I'm here I am. Other people make it all pretty and they put subtitles and they put this. That's not my thing.
Well, you see, and I think it gets good feedback or conversation going as you just, oftentimes you seem to just post just with the Facebook background, and you'll just write something and say it. And it's like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it is so much a part of me that I can't not post. Okay, but it would be like cooking breakfast, lunch, and dinner is so much a part of you that you can't not feed your kids. You know what I mean? That's what I'm making the analogy of. You wouldn't think about not leaving. And if you couldn't feed your kids, you'd leave a frozen pizza or something. You're going to be out, or you give them money to order pizza or do whatever. But you wouldn't not feed your kids. And those are my kids. Those are my business kids. I have to feed them. Because otherwise, my kid's going to be somewhere else eating God knows what with God knows who, getting attention somewhere that they shouldn't be getting attention. In my case, a lot of times they're going off and getting caught up in these things and spending gazillions of dollars and, you know, and then getting dumped and so I feel very obligated to be present so that they know that there's a person there. Will they still get caught up
you're the safe house.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You're the safe house on the street.
Listen, if I'm not present as a mom, my kids are going to go somewhere where they're going to get what they're looking for. And sometimes in the house that they get what they're looking for, there's also drugs, or there's also drinking, or there's also, you know, sex stuff, or whatever it is that I want to make sure I guide my children on. If I'm not present, they're going to go. Now that sounds very motherly, and you might think, well, I'm not a mother yet. Okay, act like a big sister then. I'm a big sister. I just learned this. Let me pass it along to you. That's what a big sister does.
Right.
You don't have to be mom. I'm grandma. I'm big grandma by now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Cool. I like how you're breaking it down to where you can kind of correlate it to real life.
Yeah. Well, everything I do, I bring back to real life, because I think that this whole marketing world is insane. I think a lot of the things that they teach are insane. You tell everybody I said it, okay? I think a lot of the stuff is like cockamamie, crazy, and then people get all overwhelmed. And I'm like, look, they're your prospects. You have to feed them if you want them to come to you. You have to feed them if you want them to come to you. It's just common sense. They're your kids. If you want, like, guess what? My kids come around because I feed them. They still do. Mom, can you take, you know? That's because I feed them. Mom, can you pick me up this? Mom, can you, you know, maybe I get a lot less of those moms now because they're all grown up, but they still.
But they still come around.
Yes, they do. They still want that particular kind of cookie, or that something that they have that memory of. And I still have prospects and former clients and customers that have gone on and grown up, so to speak, and they still come back and go, Diane, can you do that one training on, or can you cover that, or teach them that? That's so good. It helped me. Same thing.
I like that.
And then guess what? After your kids, you ask them to do something, don't you? Can you please go make your bed? Mm-hmm. Brush your teeth. You make sure you straighten up, pick up your toys. We always do. We always ask them to do something. So in my case, it's asking them to come to the Deep Abyss tonight, or it's asking them to join something with me, or it's asking them to buy my course. They've been fed. There's a good chance that they're going to comply and do what I ask them to do. Some of them won't, as we well know, and sometimes they will, and sometimes
some of them are going to be rebellious no matter what.
They're one minute they're on your lap and another minute they're complaining about you. And that's the nature of the beast.
Right.
And that's the way I look at it. I just look at it that way. So I don't get all caught up into this. I love marketing theory. I mean, I'm always watching a video or learning something, but at the same time, I have to take it into real world. I have to take it into what motivates humans, what makes people move. And good marketers, that's where they are.
Well, that makes a hell of a lot more sense than trying to force, because I feel like I'm trying to force when I'm posting things. I feel like I'm trying to force it, and it's like it should not be this damn hard. It
And
just
that
shouldn't.
it's you, and I'm saying that with love.
No,
The,
I'm glad.
the forcing is you. But there's another person in All Access. It was the same thing. They kept saying, "I don't know what to write. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to write." And because they were forcing and they were trying to shove something. And when I got them to flip, they started sharing parts of their life. This person likes to go to the car wash, by the way.
Okay.
They started sharing what they were doing, what they were up to, and they became much more natural. Then they started writing letters, and the letters became stories about them, and it became much more natural. All of a sudden, they were expressing all of this stuff, and it became natural and normal to share. But in the beginning, it was forced. Bad marketing is about forcing something. Good marketing is about pulling people towards something. It's natural. It's a very natural process because it's a person caring about another person, showing them something that can help them.
And the thing that's crazy is if I'm on the phone with someone or doing a Zoom or whatever, it's great and it's fine. And I guess it's the information that I'm trying to share to get them to come to me that I'm having the more difficult time. When they do come and we have conversations, it seems to go very well. So chatting,
Then my
like,
suggestion to you
uh-huh.
is to use stories, Facebook stories, and use lives, which lives aren't as popular anymore, and use short video. Stories alone. Okay. So we're on Facebook, right? We're on Facebook at the main page here. Right?
Okay.
Right.
Right.
Page, and you create a story. Okay, and hit the camera. Okay, so now your camera's on, right?
Right.
And I could go, oops, I took a picture. I didn't mean to take a picture. I forget what platform I'm on. Okay. So I go, I was just talking to one of my clients and we got into a discussion about being on a need to know basis for your business. Do you realize that a lot of people are just trying to learn too much, too fast? Is that you?
I was just talking to one of my clients and we got into a discussion about being on a basis.
That's you.
Do you realize that a lot of people are just
having a conversation with that person? Okay, now there's a bunch of people that can potentially watch your stories, but you're having a conversation with one person. So every time you learn something or try something or get frustrated with something, like I could turn around and go, all right, here I am. It's midnight and I'm still trying to build this damn funnel. I know exactly what I want to say, but the internet is not cooperating with me. Help! You're having a little conversation with them. So what starts to happen is somebody that enjoys you, they'll write you back, first of all. When somebody replies to your story, it goes into your messenger. It goes into your inbox. And now you start relating. And now you start having the ability to invite them to come to something or take a look at something or to give them something that would be helpful to them. That's opening doors. So that's one way. Short form video is another way, creating 30-second clips. Because you can post that in Reels. I'm going to do some of this with you guys, but not till next month.
Okay.
Post this in Reels on Facebook. So it's just a 30-second, 1-minute video that people have seen. Now, what Mark was talking about, he was talking about taking big videos and chopping them into little videos. But in this case, it's just little videos, and it's little, like I wrote a post, but I could have easily done a story. Oh my gosh, I just watched this YouTube video where they were interviewing this Dr. Gabor Mate, and I've had ADHD all my life, and he just said that ADHD isn't a disease, it's a coping mechanism. designed to help us deal when we were little kids. And now it's gotten turned upside down. And so this is me having a revelation, watching something and having a revelation. Or maybe I want to argue with him. Doesn't matter. But the point is, I'm talking to my phone like I'm talking to you.
I like that.
Yeah, I think because you're fun and funny, and if you just started picking up the phone and don't get all dolled up and all this stuff, just pick up the phone. I just heard that Wednesday night we're going to have a training on this. I'm definitely going because this is my weak spot. It's okay to say that. If you want to come with me, let me know. Or, oh my gosh, I just learned something today. Absolutely mind blowing. Hit me back if you want a cool marketing tip. And then you tell them what you learned. You don't do it fake. You learn.
That's cool. Okay.
So those are super fun. So different people see your feed than your story. And I have to admit, because I grew up with the feed, I tend to forget to do stories. I do a lot of short video, but I tend to forget to do stories. And people are crushing it with stories. Stories only last for 24 hours, though. So my bias was always, why am I doing this? It's going to go away. But it's a very intimate conversation. So it's again, if I cared enough about my people, I would want to talk to them all the time. So I need to work on this myself.
So if it goes into stories, it disappears after 24 hours. When someone responds in Messenger that they saw your story, does it link to whatever that story was?
But if the story disappears, and I'm not sure if it does it on Facebook or Instagram because the two of them are slightly different, it'll say they responded to your story, but you don't know which story it is because it's gone. You have to pay attention to your messages. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be like me texting you. Usually you're going to text me back. So
right.
You want, if somebody responds to you, you don't want to wait 2 days to respond to them.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, Lord, keeping track of that. That should be fun.
But you have notifications. So see what you just did. Okay. So I go, okay, so you got to respond to them. And you went, how am I going to keep track of them? Let me throw up a wall. Let me make a reason why this is.
Why do I do that?
I had to counsel somebody else.
What the hell? What the hell?
Aware of doing it and then talking back to yourself. Okay. I'm constantly, I just had a conversation yesterday with somebody and I taught her how I had to manage my language, right? I had to learn to manage. And you will often see me, either something will come out of my mouth and I will say, strike that, reverse that. That's the way I cancel things out my brain. Nope. Or you will see me like almost stutter, hesitate because I'm about to say something that doesn't serve me. And then I change the words. So in your case, I came out, oh, gee, how am I going to manage that? And then you say to it, I'm going to manage it because I'm awesome. Whatever your phrase back is, okay? You have to recognize that you're creating the walls and then talk back to yourself because that's the part of you that's afraid. That's the part of you that's nervous. That's the part of you that's going into I'm overwhelmed. I can't, right? You have to tell it, you're okay, baby. You don't want to beat it up. You don't want to beat it up because that's the little Jane going, what if too many people message me? How am I going to do that around everything I have? That's little Jane. Big Jane has to go, you got this, right? You got this. Little Jane is always going to have a reason why it's going to be hard or a reason why it's overwhelming or a reason why it's confusing. Big Jane has to start training little Jane, you're safe. And training little Jane to get specific. And if you hear my wake-up call today, it wasn't for you, but it was about you. I didn't know it was about you because I did it without thinking about you, but it came out. And I'm like, this call is for her. When we get specific and we know our audience, we know what they want. We know what they need. We know them. So like, I'll put a post up. Like I had one guy last night. He was in the military. He has PTSD. And has gone through a lot of stuff and now goes back and helps other guys with PTSD or guys and gals. And I put up the quote from this doctor. He's very familiar with this doctor. And the doctor's a little controversial right now because he's saying a lot of the things that we think are diseases and we've been saying are genetic for years are really things we developed as children to deal with the stress that was coming from our parents. And so he has a new book out and he has several books. He's a brilliant man. So he wrote me and he goes, oh my gosh, I love you even more because you know who Gabor Mate is. And I said, well, I consume a lot of information. This is a fascinating guy. And then he started to tell me about his project and so on. So I have people reaching out to me all the time because I said something that's helpful to them, or like in his case, oh my God, she knows who my guy is. You know, she knows who this guy is. It felt good to know that somebody else knows about this. And you start to build these relationships and then you do business together. It's just normal and natural. It's just normal and natural. And I'm always getting people reaching out to me. Was ADHD post, didn't have anything to do with selling anything? Nope. But I know that millions of people, especially in this field, suffer. So when they feel like you get them, they're much more likely to work with you. By the way, could I have done that as a story? I just got off of YouTube and I had to stop and tell you this blew my mind. Could I have done it as a story? Yes. I didn't write it because I lean towards writing on Facebook, which is bad, by the way. I had to train myself to lean towards video. Instagram and TikTok, there's no choice but video.
Yeah, this is great. This is very helpful.
And by the way, the best prospect is often the person that's like you, person who used to work corporate, person who's, you know, how old are your kids?
24, 21, and 19.
Right. So you're in that stage where they're still around, but you know they're not going to be for much longer. Talking about those things, like was super excited to have the whole family at home this Sunday for dinner, but apparently I was wrong, and the only one that's left here is my baby. I think for girls' night, or you know, whatever it is, right? That period of life, that period of, you know, some days I miss corporate and want to put on a suit, and then I remember, no, I don't. That and it's, you think those things, like, don't you ever miss putting something nice and going out to lunch with the girls or something, or the guys and the girls?
Yeah.
Like, I miss sometimes. I took a job for a little while. I was a CMO at a company for a little while, and I was up and at it bright and early, and I was in the office. I was excited to be back in that environment. And then, well, the company had problems. The guy lied to me. But anyway, I was very happy to be back home afterwards because we all fantasized about the other side. All of these things about life, you know, about your best prospect is the person like you.
Yep.
Person that's still in corporate, or maybe left corporate, or maybe recent retiree, you know, like early retirement, like 55, right. 60, in that age range. Those people are going to totally, like, you could go get a little audio that sounds like crickets. The house used to be full of kids, but not today. Crickets, you know, fun stuff. That's feeding your audience. Right. They're experiencing that too.
Right. That makes sense. Makes total sense. Okay. And it doesn't have to be something long and forced. It's just what's going on in life.
Yeah. It could be a video of the dog running around. It could be, didn't you have an animal that was trying to get in while we were talking one time? Is it a dog?
Yeah. Well, it could be the UPS guy. It could be, yeah, we have deer that just come up and hang out by the
all of that type of stuff. Like, I don't know what your UPS guy looks like, but it's fun to say.
It's a girl. She's very nice.
You know the fantasy of the hot UPS girl, UPS guy? Well, this is ours, you know, and it's like a really cute woman. That's the type of stuff. Or I've got a package, ooh, what is it? Or it's kind of like just documenting your daily hijinks.
And people don't find that boring?
No. I mean, TikTok is the fastest growing, biggest, overwhelming social media platform that's come along in 15 years, and people sit and watch people do everything from go to the bathroom to wash their dog to cover their pool to.
Wow.
People are voyeurs. People are, now, if you can be clever, it works great, you know, if you get into that, if you're any good at it. But you don't have to be clever to just have people relate to you. Like the other day, Ginny has apples on her property, apple trees and stuff on her property. She lives in the country.
Cool.
So Ginny made an apple pie, and she did like a fast forward, you know, like super speed of her rolling out the dough and everything else. And so I'm like, I live in apple country here. And I'm like, yeah, I need some apples, you know. It wasn't boring. It was like, I need to make a pie so that I could sit by myself and eat the whole thing. You know? Maybe I'll make a little tart because I don't like to do that. But bottom line is, people, no, they don't.
Yes, I'm totally missing the boat. Because for me, I'm like, I just don't find that all that fascinating and great. I don't know.
What do you find fascinating and great? What do you do all day? I know you're not marketing all day, Jane. Yeah, you said I can kick your ass. There you go. I know you're not marketing all day, Jane. What else are you doing?
I am growing my audience. And I've come up with,
what do you said I don't find that interesting. What do you find interesting?
Lord, I don't even know. I mean, I'll hop on some and I'll look at some, but I mean, I won't spend hours and hours and hours on it.
Mm-hmm. But here's what's interesting. Same thing with email. You get a bunch of email. You only open a few of them. The same thing with the videos, like in your feed, or the same thing like with what's going on around town. Whatever it is that interests you is what you plug into. So there's tons of things I don't look at and I have no interest in. But the things that I have interest in, I tend to pay attention to. So our job is to attract those people that would be like, for example, I'm getting ready to retire from corporate life. I'm really nervous about it. I want to do something else. That person is going to be interested in how you're bridging. That person is going to be interested, or I'm getting close to the age where I'm going to be an empty nester. That person would be interested in these types of topics because they're relevant, not because they care about you. And here's the caveat, here's what you got to get. They don't care about you, Jane.
Yeah,
I didn't care that Ginny made a pie. I wanted to make a pie. You follow that?
Right.
I don't care what goes on in your house. I just want to think what goes on in my house. What either used to, because my kids are gone. So I might be like, oh man, that was so much fun when we used to do that. Or it might be, oh man, I'm glad that doesn't go on here anymore. But I'm only thinking about me. So the reason why they're interested is because you make them think about themselves. That right there is profound.
Yeah. Yep.
I have like 5 more minutes. Give me your best, most important thing.
What else to talk about? I think that's pretty much it. Other than, is there anything that you did like right at the very beginning of everything that really propelled you and excelled you forward?
What I answered.
Other than all the things we just talked about.
What I answered your first question with, I was so diligent about posting daily. I was so diligent about creating content. And I know you've heard me tell the story many times. When my life was a mess, I was audience and all that content. So I was able to pull from that. So I was very, very, very visible. Very, very, very visible. Not in the ta-da way, but it was just very visible. I wanted to be in people's feeds and notifications all the time. So if you go to, I'm talking about TikTok because TikTok's what's hot. I'm not saying you need to do TikTok.
Right.
When I go to TikTok, I have 2 choices, right, of what I can look at if I go on to look at something. One choice is how I spent day 1 on board Virgin Voyages. One is the main feed, which is everybody, whatever they think I would be interested in. You don't worry about this. Just listen to the content. And then the other one is my friends, people that I'm following. Okay.
Okay.
So I have a choice of looking at the main thing to discover somebody new and something new and interesting, or I can look at my friends, which are people that I'm already connected to. My objective on any social media platform is to get in front of people as many times as possible. not 99. A lot of times they're not going to look. They're busy. They're busy. They're doing something. They're out. Their sound is down. They can't hear what I said. That's okay. But I want to continually be in front of them so that I become familiar. Familiarity is the key, because out of familiarity becomes trust. If you're in trouble, you're always going to go to the familiar. You're always going to go to the familiar. Or if you want something, you're always going to go to the familiar. Think about it. Don't you always go to the same store? Don't you always go to the same coffee shop? Don't you always go through the same drive-through? Don't you always drive the same way? Because humans seek the familiar. So this is here. It will always seek the familiar.
Hold on. Can you repeat that? You're breaking up.
Is it okay now or no?
Okay, go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Humans will always seek the familiar. My job is to become familiar or ease them. Like McDonald's.
You're breaking up.
Most of this. That's the signal to go. I got to go anyway.
I think you're right. So the whole thing is be familiar. Got it.
Yeah. Bottom line, a foreign country and you can't read anything, and you don't know what anything is, and it all looks weird, and you see golden arches, you're going in the damn golden arches. You see Colonel Sanders, you're going in KFC. See what I'm saying? Because it's not because it's good, because it's familiar and it's a known quantity. People seek a known quantity. And that's all I've ever really capitalized on. And that's why I post a lot, because I become familiar. So I'm on a new platform, and I don't have a big audience because I'm not familiar. So the answer to that is to do more. So I become familiar enough. Once I'm familiar, then I can trickle. I can get away with murder once I'm familiar. When you're not familiar, don't matter. Don't matter. Once you're familiar, you can get away with murder. Come to the Deep Abyss tonight if you can, and if not, listen to the recording, because I'm going to teach something tonight that's very relevant to what we're talking about.
Okay.
I'm not going to reveal it because it's just too good. I'm not going to reveal it before. Okay?
All right. Well, this has been wonderful. I appreciate all your help, your insight. And you did not kick my ass that hard, even though I asked you to go ahead and you kicked my ass. It was okay.
Other people are seeing this. I'll kick your ass in private. Sounds naughty.
Okay.
In private. Look, I gave you a hard jerk on the head, like, Jane, stop looking over there. You're looking at like, if you're in a car and you're spinning out, don't look at the thing that you're afraid of hitting, right? If there's a tree over there, if I hit that, I'm going to die. And you're like, I think I'll look at the tree. I'm like, no, Jane, look over here. No, I'm going to look at the tree. Look over here. That's what I did today. I did not kick your ass.
That's what I'm doing. I got it. All right. My blinders are on.
I got to go use that restroom before I hit the next class. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate you so much.
Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye.